if you see this mat, if you see this thumbnail, if you see everything that I'm sitting around my table, you know exactly what time of year it is. It is my favorite time of year where I get to talk about my favorite clan of all time. It is it's not a deck profile. It's an explanatory video. Because all of you love the Messiah one so much. So I'm gonna abuse this new format and talk about something I want to talk about, and that is of course my favorite, the Narukami. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm DZBT15 here. Today I am back to talk about DZBT15 again, because this is our stretch where we do DZBT15. So by the time this video comes out, I believe we have already covered the upgraded Brawler Dragon Conic. Sorry, it's not pronounced Conic, it's Canicud. Brawler Dragon Canic for DZBT15, and he is the main highlight of DZBT15 for Dragon Empire. While he's a very good deck, the thing is that, you know, he's not exactly alone in DZBT15. In fact, DZBT15 is notoriously very cheap for Dragon Empire, and that is because the rest of DZBT15 was given to somebody who actually needs it, or more, not say needs it and not say somebody, it's more of a group of people. My favorite group of people, the Narukami. No, I'm sorry, my channel members, I wasn't referring to you, I was referring to the Narukami. The Narukami is in a very weird state right now in Standard, or hell, should I just say the entire Vanguard. Like, we used to be top dog somewhere, somehow, and then, like, you know, a bunch of things happened, and then we just fell off relevancy, and we got some decent decks here, decent decks there. Then they made Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion, then he was almost playable, then they released the Blood, and then the Blood became pretty bad. Then they released Brawlers, they stopped releasing some Vermillion support, and then just a whole bunch of things here and there, here and there, here and there. And now we're just in a very weird spot where we not only have not one, but two Narukami decks, but neither of them really win anything, right? Like, you've not heard of Brawlers winning, you've not heard of Vermillion winning in the last how many years, and yet both decks still have very strong, loyal fan bases, myself included. So I think it was very surprising when we are told that, you know, half of the DZBT15 Dragon Empire playset goes all to Narukami, and I was like, oh, I bought 3 playsets of it. I can't show it on camera. I can show you a picture right here. Yeah, I bought a lot of this. So yeah, it's not hoarding if you're gonna play them all. Okay, it's not hoarding if you play them all. So for those of you who believe you play 6 different youth book decks, it's time to wake up. You don't need that many copies of that great one. Okay, you don't need that many. Wake up. So today we are here to talk about the state of Narukami as well as all the support, because the support comes in a very weird time for these decks, plural, and also because they open up very interesting design spaces that I wish to talk about at length. So this is not a deck profile, this is my explanatory video for the month. Like I said, I'm going to try and do one once per month. So yeah, I finally get the chance to do that now and actually talk about it. So there's going to be a bit of extra editing in here and there. I'm going to try and slot a few extra things here and there. But that's what I'm hoping to do for this video. And by the end of this video, I hope to educate you about the DZBT15 support. But more rather, I'm going to ask for your support as well. Not just for my channel members in general, but just as Narukami players as well. Because we seriously need to put our heads together and think about the future of our nation, the future of our clan. Because my god, it don't look bright, man. It don't look bright. So, let's get started. Oops, my bad. Let's get started right away because there's quite a lot of cards we need to cover. Now, I want to start first with the one that we were marketed for, and that was the Brawler support. So, for those of you who don't know, Brawlers is now in Standard. Surprise, ever since DZBT12. One of my favorite decks. I brought this to multiple tournaments by now. And then they hit us with a Banlist by taking away defensive row and all the defensive options that we used to have. Then I made up an offensive version. Links in the description for my post-Banlist video, which did pretty alright, so I'm really thankful for that. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the direct support that Brawlers has gotten. Because Brawlers did get direct support, and they were intended to be the main audience for this set, but that's not what ended up happening, so yeah. So Brawlers technically gets 4 cards, at least that's what Net claimed. We're going to go through all 4, because as much as some of them will be called pack filler, hit pack filler, I actually love each and every one of them. First and foremost, the fact that there even is cards that call themselves modern day Brawlers that is very heartening. For those of you who don't know, Brawlers is a very short-lived archetype that lasts from BT16, BT17, TD15, GBT05, and then we just die out. Okay, and then Big Bang Knuckle Turbo, and then we just die out. Right, so the fact that 3,000 years later, or should I now say 4,000 years later, that there are still people who are willing to associate themselves with the Brawler name, the Brawler spirit, I absolutely respect you. I am so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Like, you don't know what this means to me, right? Like, I know I say this thing over and over again, like, oh, I love it when, modern people join clans of previous historical times, but to be not just a Narukami, but a Brawler is insane. Like, that's like telling me there's modern eradicators. Like, I would be so happy. I would be moved to tears if I found that out, okay? But you know what? Knowing Kidani, he'll probably just pull some random art out of a bag and go, okay, this is the Kaiser now. You have to accept that. So, what do I do? So, let's actually talk about all the modern Brawlers, because there is no historical Brawlers this time. They're all modern, so that makes it very interesting. So, we'll go through one by one. So, this is their common. Yes, I'm going to talk about every one of them, so you're going to have to get used to that. So let's start off with this guy. So this guy is Brawler Conflict Dragon, who definitely has the coolest name. Come on, Conflict Dragon, like, oh man. So of course he's a Brawler, but he's not a Narukami, so that is pretty interesting. And his skill is, if you have a great creator Vanguard with Brawler in its card name, you can rest this card. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and move it to an open front row rear guard circle. So I have made this joke over and over and over again that D series Brawlers is just V series Narukami, and this has absolutely not beaten the allegations at all. Like, there's no way you read this card and go, yeah, there's no way V series has an influence on this. This is V. This is V Narukami. This is just V Narukami. What are you trying to deny? I love it. The problem is that in this day and age, this is not an effect we need right now. But I wanted to just bring this up to show you the design space that the Vanguard team is still working with, that they're still thinking about this deck in terms of the V series Narukami deck that never got to see V series, right? Like, the fact that they made this is, man, I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just really happy that they are keeping cards like this, and this is the type of stuff I want to see. Now, we'll talk about someone else now. Let's talk about this one. This is Full Energy Brawler Gitotsuku. I'm mispronouncing this. Gitotsuko. Yeah, Gitotsuko. So that's her name. The translation has already come up now, so you don't need to worry about that. I'm gonna edit every translation in just so all of us, all Narukami fans across the world can read and understand it. Because I mean, I don't expect explanatory videos to do well, but I want everyone who is a Narukami player to know what we're working with, because come on, this is so cool. So this one is actually Narukami because it is a modern day Narukami. So if you have a Vanguard of only Narukami in its clan, it counts as a Narukami. So that's already much better than Compete Dragon, and it is searchable by a lot of the Brawler effects, like for example Arc. So that's already pretty good here in and of itself. The second skill is in the back row rearguard circle. When the attack of your unit with Brawler in its card name hits, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, this unit gets 3000 power until the end of the turn. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh my god, Ames is just Arc, it's a 2014 Arc, they made it into a girl. Sure, I guess. It's a bit strange that it's tied to a back row and it's tied to the grade 1 and it has to hit and then it gets only 3000 power. Like, there's a lot of weird things going on here. The reason why this card will not see play, at least in the current future, is that she's already been power creeped by somebody who already exists in the modern day, which is of course friend of the channel, Spike Dragon. In fact, now that I have all my Narukami decks here, I can just do the flex and go, oh yeah, I also own Spike Dragon in the high rare. But the fact still remains, Spike Dragon completely mogs this card. Am I using that word right? Mogs? And Crafter kept shouting at me the other day. Mogs. I think I'm using that word right. I hope I am. So this card just completely eclipses Gitotsuku, which is kind of sad. Like, a new card is just completely irrelevant on release. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know why they needed to make a budget version of Spike Dragon. It just seems really weird to me. But sure, I mean, we can just have more of it. It helps, especially because it says on the end of the turn. So like in premium, I guess you can use it with a stand trigger and it'll be funny. But like, that's really kind of stretching it at this point. I don't know, but I love this art so much, and I love the fact that she's not only a modern Narukami, but she's a modern brawler, and that it's just wonderful. It's just amazing. I'm just so happy. But this card does not meet the cut right now, at least in my opinion, because of Spark Spike. Like, if you can't afford Spark Spike, I guess you can play this, but like, it's a bit of a stretch to tell me, oh, this is better than Spark Spike. I can't accept that argument. I just can't. Now, let's talk about people that did make the cut into the deck, and our last pure brawler. And this one's one of my favorites. This is Brawler, Feisty Dragon. And yeah, that's such a funny name. Why is he called Feisty Dragon? It's like, like, I can't say it. Can I say this on camera? I guess I can. Like, okay, no, I can't say it. It's PG-18. I can't say that word. Okay, never mind. Anyways, it's Feisty Dragon. So anyways, he is also a modern Narukami, which makes it even cooler. And I'm gonna stop saying that for a bit because our next card is also a modern Narukami. But yeah, this is also a modern Narukami. And when this card is either retired from the Guardian Circle or discarded from your hand during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Brawler in its card name, you can move it into the soul. I'm gonna just keep reading before I explain this card, okay? When this unit boosts, if you have a creature or greater Vanguard with Brawler in its card name, this unit gets 5,000 power to the end of the battle and continues on the Guardian Circle. If you have a Vanguard with Brawler in its card name, this unit also gets 5,000 shield. Okay, I'm done reading. That is insane. This is a godsend card. Now, for those of you who remember my previous Brawler video, I used to play Belligaku, especially because I used to whine about how all the defensive options were taken. We have to play offensively. We need to have our discard fodder to be offensive cards. Therefore, Belligaku is the right option. They've taken that back from me. They've said, Armas, we've heard your cries. We'd like you to play Brawlers as God intended. So we not only get a good discard fodder, we get a guy that moves to the soul, which again, Brawlers does have a bit of a soul issue. We have a 10k shield early on, okay? So it's basically just our own copy of Marauding Shade at this point, which, you know, I'm gonna accept that. Why would I not accept that? And then to make matters even better, if you need to push with him on turn 3, he's a 13k booster. There is no scenario where drawing this card is bad. Like, this is such a well-rounded card. And this shows me again that they understand the actual problems of Brawlers. I'm so grateful. This is such a good card. Like, I can't explain it to you. The fact that you now have more ways to put cards into the soul and is a defensive tool that you can loop and also can become an offensive tool if you're behind. It's insane to me. This is the way. This is the right way to make cards. And thank you for giving us good Brawlers in 2026. This is absolutely incredible. If you're a Brawler player, you have to buy this. This one is not in contention. Absolutely, you have to buy it. It's just insane. And that wraps up our section for Brawlers. And I know what you're saying, Armas, no, you forgot one more. You're missing one. No, I'm not. I said my piece. Now, I want to talk about someone else. This guy. So, he is the thumbnail. I'm gonna make a height joke about him and say, haha, look at him, he's a midget. Okay, so you've heard that once. I've made the height joke, so we can't use the height joke anymore. Okay, so there we go. So, this card has a very, very, very long skill. So in order for me to actually have his own skill, I'm gonna have to find another way to get it onto the screen because my god, that's just really, really long. Okay, so there you go. That's the whole blubber of text right there. You're welcome. Now, this guy is a brawler, right? He is a brawler, but he is much more than a brawler because he actually can be used in every Narukami deck, and it's probably the reason why I'm even doing this video. So, okay, here we go. Brawler, Compete Dragon. If you have a Vanguard with Narukami, For its clan, this card counts as Narukami. Again, I'm repeating myself. When this card is discarded during the right phase, you can choose a grade 3 with only Narukami for its clan from your right deck and reveal it. If you either reveal or if a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with only Narukami in its clan, you can either Soul Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to draw a card. In the drop zone, if you have a Vanguard with only Narukami for its clan and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you can bind this card from your drop zone, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and until the end of turn, for the battle that your Vanguard attacks, your Vanguard can battle the chosen Vanguard as well. You cannot activate the activated abilities of a card with the same name as this card until the end of the turn. So basically, it's a hard once per turn. This one is the reason why we're doing this video. Compete Dragon is at a really weird time right now, wherein this is just Farhad, right? It's just the worst Farhad, like the gun cycler. You use this offensively, you can't use this like as a guard, which is kind of weird that they didn't let us do that. But then again, because of how generic it is, I can understand. So it's technically purely Farhad for turns 1 to 3, and then afterwards it's complete nonsense. And what you do with the copies of Compete Dragon that you discard throughout the whole game, because that's the whole point of this card, is that you're supposed to bind this card out, and then afterwards you can give your Vanguard, and grade 3 or greater Narukami Vanguard, the ability when, your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, that you can attack one of their other Vanguards as well. Up to your choosing, and of course it's a hard once per turn. So what does this mean? Like, what does this mean? Like, this is just a lot of information. What does this do for Narukami? So now that I've read all of that, it's time to go straight into the implications of the Brawlers. So, the reason why I needed to segment this video the way it is right now, first and foremost, let's talk about Brawlers, right? This support, like all of these 4 cards, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm trying not to damage it. They do a lot for Brawlers. Firstly, because they are Brawlers, right? So the reason why that's important is because Bang Knuckle Dragon gets his critical when he reveals a Brawler, right? So it is only common sense that the more Brawler names you reveal, the more things you get. Alright? That's pretty easy to understand at a fundamental level. 2, the 2 main foil Brawlers, if you can call it that, the 2 of them, Compete Dragon and Feisty Dragon, these 2 are very, very big quality of life upgrades for Bang Knuckle Dragon. Mostly because they tackle Bang Knuckle Dragon's #1 issue, wherein you just don't know what to discard for like your early turns, and it doesn't really give you much value for doing a lot of things that you want to do. Compete Dragon is Farhad, right? And especially when you are going second, it now lets Bang Knuckle Dragon attack not just the front row, but a back row Rearguard as well. So effectively, we have turned Bang Knuckle Dragon into his future form, which is Bang Knuckle Buster. Woo! But again, why? Like, if you are going to release Bang Knuckle Buster, why do we need this skill now? Like, then it just makes Bang Knuckle Buster irrelevant when it comes out. Or is the ideal to have Bang Knuckle Buster attack 5 Rearguards? I don't know. What about Wild Fist and Wild Rush Dragon? What does this mean if he can now swing 1 Rearguard and 1 Vanguard for 20k and a crit? I don't know. It's really interesting that they took this set to do Narukami quality of life support and then just give no actual win con for any of the Narukami decks. They just want to stabilize the decks, give it draw, give it shield, give it more names, but not actually support the development of Narukami in terms of getting more win con, which is something I will talk about later at the end of this video. As for Feisty Dragon though, Feisty Dragon is absolutely a fall-off in this deck. I don't think this is up for discussion, and that's just simply because you just need more shield in the format where, have you seen Yakuza? Also, the soul is very important because Bang Knuckle Dragon does burn through his soul relatively easily, and because now Compete Dragon can also use soul as well as energy, you do actually have 1 more user for soul. So again, that makes that very competitive, if I can, use the Banha Compete Dragon. So, yeah. These cards are really good for Brawler, wherein you absolutely have to play them, but what they do for the deck is very weird, wherein they don't actually help you win more at all. It just gives you a better game plan, it gives you a better mulligan, but it doesn't really give the deck more firepower, win con, because this is too slow. If this was going first, allowing your Vanguard to attack a Vanguard and a Rearguard, This will be perfect. But the fact that it's tied to going second means you still have the D Legion. I don't understand. But we are not done yet. There is a secret Narukami, a fifth one, if I can. And he's the one that we need to discuss with in view of a very particular deck. And that is, of course, my longtime friend, Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. It's now time to shift the stage from one to the other, and let's talk about this guy. Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion is... I will link the previous Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion deck profile, link in the description. But this one pains my heart to talk about. Very, very much. Mostly because ever since he come out, he's only gotten worse. He's only like got one top in like the whole of Japan. And that was through a diversity card. It's so bad. Like, he's gotten nothing else ever. And this is one of the coolest boss monsters in the history of time, and they just will not give us a proper way to support the cross-ride mechanism because it is so difficult to do so. In fact, in my original Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion, the blood deck profile, I even said, oh, let's just not cross-ride, let's just normal like ride into Vermillion and then ride into the blood, right? But in terms of actually putting Vermillion into the soul, that there was only two cards, which was Kashin as well as Banlist Dragon, of which they're just way too outdated at this point. Especially Kashin, because she's actually just a bad card. She's -1 to do anything, and Vermillion is a deck that just cannot plus. So, in view of all that, does this solve anything? You know, Compete Dragon is technically a gun cycler. What does Compete Dragon help with Vermillion? Let me answer that for you. Not much. Vermillion is a deck that is majority grade 3s. Now you're telling me, in your deck, you not only have about 15 to 18 grade 3s, you also have 4 copies of Compete Dragon, and you're going to discard the copies of Compete Dragon to ride up, and then you're going to draw an additional shieldless card, and your whole hand is nothing but just shieldless cards, and you're going to tell me that's okay. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I have been playing Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion so much with this new support. Like, Compete Dragon definitely helps, but it's not enough. This is not what this deck needs. What this deck needs is an Onslaught Surf Dragon style support like what Maelstrom got. He needs that level of broken cards. He does not need a Compete Dragon. In fact, I'll go as far to say he needs a lot more than that. But Vermillion did get one more support card, which I do wish to talk about. And this one is for Vermillion. And this is our last card for today. This guy is a sneaky little common that crawled in. His name is Fulmir Edge Dragon. And his skill is when he attacks, if your Vanguard is only Narukami and is a grade 3 or greater, this unit gets 10,000 power to the end of the battle, and until the end of the battle, after he attacks, you bind this card. So, he is technically a free version of Kashin, and he doesn't check for any names at all, which means you can still play him in either Vermillion or Brawlers if you want to play the Rising Phoenix version, which I don't recommend, but you can. And not only that, but he's technically an even cheaper and freer version of this guy, Roughcull Hammer Dragon. You know, Roughcull Hammer Dragon is a card that is a mainstay in Vermillion for a long time because of its repeatability. The only downside is that it comes with a cost, counterblast 1. Well, this guy, Fulmir Edge Dragon, is completely free. The only downside is he just can't draw himself back. But I mean, that's fine. The other problem is that he's not a Narukami, so you can't actually search him out with a lot of your effects. You just kind of have to draw him and pray. But I would be foolish if I didn't bring him up because there are enough implications wherein he is useful, but you know, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Now, I've talked at length about every Narukami card in this set, and so we must come to a verdict on how we are going to build these decks and what we are going to do. How do each of these decks move forward, especially in the current game state environment. Now, first and foremost, I want to talk about why this support feels so weird to me. This support feels really weird to me for a very simple reason. Narukami, in its history for the longest time, has not actually had a quality of life update in a long time. Narukami is known for getting just a lot of flashy and big plays and a bunch of this, a bunch of that. But let's be all honest with ourselves and sit down for a moment. The last time we actually got a card that was a quality of life upgrade is Stun vs Dragon. And we all know how you feel about Stun vs Dragon. So the fact that they printed another Narukami generic that is just meant to bolster the bottom ceiling, the bottom floor of every Narukami deck in a format just seems very weird to me. Like, why are we doing this again? I'm grateful, but is this really the set to do that? When not one but both Narukami decks are just at a complete loss when it comes to so much of their identity? Multiple decks can do what they want. Multiple decks win faster than them. Multiple decks have even their exact one-to-one mechanics. It just seems really weird that at this point in time, this is what you want to go for. Like, why are we printing Farhats now? Like, can't we just grow up and do something else? I don't know. But in terms of deck lists, this is where it's going to get difficult. For Brawlers, like I mentioned before, this isn't a deck profile, so I don't really have a deck list to show you. But what I can tell you absolutely is that, you will absolutely be playing 4 copies of Compete Dragon and 4 copies of Feisty Dragon. This much is an absolute must to play. So the thing is that when it comes to a Brawler list, while you can reference my previous Brawler deck, this is something I can absolutely tell you with confidence. I actually can't finish the deck. And it's not because of money, it's because in testing the list, I have no idea how to finish the actual list. I can tell you right now, the rest of the deck is pretty simple at this point in time, right? You just play 4 copies of Bang Knuckle Dragon, you play 4 copies of Wild Fist Dragon, you play your Spark Spikes, you play your Wild Fist, you play your Excalibur, you play your Triggers, and then you play your Buffet Guards at 4, and then you play your Komeis at 4, and then after that, I just freeze and tell you I don't know how to build the rest of the deck. There's a good 6 to 8 slots still that are just completely unable to be filled in by anything at this point. And even though you can try a variety of generics, which I haven't been able to find a solution that I'm actually really happy with, which is probably why I'm opening the floor to you guys to discuss and talk about how to actually fill in a Brawler's deck. There is very little slots in this deck, and frankly, I know what most people say, oh man, just play Engine, just play Rising Phoenix. But when you play a package like this, it's really tight, the space gets really small, and while it gives you extra draw and extra abilities, it doesn't actually help you win the game. It just helps you live longer, so you can survive something like Draconic Stall, but it won't actually help you beat up Yakuza. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't help you push the win con, and it just seems very weird to me. So that's really all I can say for the Brawlers at this point. Now, in terms of Vermillion, the list has changed a bit here and there. And for my channel members, it is, you guessed it, this is your members list for this month. So for those of you who are part of my channel members, thank you again for your support. You guys are gonna see my current draft for my Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion deck list with Compete Dragon inside. But that being said, I also want to highlight something. I don't think that deck is very good either, and that's because, as I mentioned, majority of this deck is still grade 3, and the rest of the cards in the deck, like Kashin, doesn't really help. Spark Spike is mandatory. Rising Phoenix is mandatory. No matter how many copies of the foil you get by winning tournaments, they are still mandatory. And like, with the amount of mandatory must plays you need to have in Vermillion, it really bogs down the deck in a very sad way, because there's not really much else you can do. The deck still needs to accommodate its whole game plan with Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion in the soul, and you can do that with the cost right with Kashin and Betakosti. But like, it's so difficult to make space to do anything that sometimes I just can't play the deck. Period. The deck just feels unplayable until you get a good support like Onslaught Surf, which really disheartens me. And that's really the sad note that I'm going to have to end this deck profile for. No, sorry, I misspoke. No, it's not deck profile. This is really the sad note on which I have to end this explanatory video for Narukami. It just seems very weird to me that now, out of all times in the history of Vanguard, where an entire clan is just not doing well, period, this is when you release this kind of support. I don't get it. I'm happy that they exist, but I'm so frustrated at the playability of these decks that it just It's borderline annoying. It makes me ask myself if I'm not testing these cards right, if I've not solved the list right, or if I'm playing it wrong. I don't know. Is this even supposed to be good, or are they just meant to stay bad? I don't get it. Why do you release generics meant for multiple decks in the same clan, but it is against the identity of everything? You don't need more going second options for Big Bang Knuckle Dragon. Conversely, you don't need more discard fodder for Vermillion. So why make it for Dragonic Vanquisher? Shut the hell up. That's just wrong. So I really don't know where to end this on. Like, at this point, I'm just gonna open it to the floor. What do you guys think about it? Like, if you guys have lists, if you guys have ideas, if you guys have suggestions on how you will bring Narukami in set 15, please, I want to hear them. I want to hear them all. I don't care how bad it is, and if you tell me, play it Varina as per idea, I'll listen to it. Because genuinely, being unable to play your favorite clan despite having multiple decks for it sucks, and I just don't get it. I really think that it's probably just a me issue because I'm not exactly a great player. I'm probably just not understanding how these cards are working exactly, or maybe I'm just not seeing the vision, as you know, some people would say it. But when I test these decks, especially for Brawlers, right, it just feels like more of the same. Is that the point? Is the point to just make more of the same? I don't know. Kidani, I know you're listening to me. If you're going to print more midgets that are generic, can you please actually think about what the point is? Like giving Brawlers extra draw, sure, but why aren't you actually supporting the game plan, or why don't you actually remember that Big Bang Knuckle Buster is going to do the exact same thing that you are aiming for these two cards to do together? You're just literally printing cards that are going to be irrelevant by the time Big Bang Knuckle Buster comes out, which is so strange to me. I don't get it. Feisty Dragon, on the other hand, 100 upon 100 card. This one, I have no complaint. But like Compete Dragon, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It frustrates me. It really does. I don't want to end the video on such a negative note, yet alone about the Narukami, and I hate being able to show no real lists at all, right? Like, I can show you the Vermillion draft for my channel members. I've gone through my Brawlers list in terms of the stops and gaps for it, but I want to be able to talk about these decks in full so that people can actually try these decks for themselves. In fact, all I have to do now is just ask for help, because I physically just cannot do it anymore. Like, if I sit here and just keep testing Narukami like until the rest of the year, I'm probably just going to end up getting more Narukami support, and I just test that instead of this, which is so weird. Like, then you're just wasting people's time. I might as well just go and do the Ren Icon video or something. I don't get it, man. I don't get it, but I know the Narukami, and I know that we are stronger than this. We are better than this. We absolutely can find a way out of this. We just have to cook. We just have to believe, and we just need to pull draft better on our drive checks, because that's just really what it's all about. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.